Hey guys, it's Darwin here with my weekly Q&A to answer more of your questions. If you want to ask a question for next week's Q&A, you can either leave it in the comment box below or send me a video question over to darwinonthetrail@yahoo.com, and then next week I'll answer as many as I possibly can. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into this week's first question. Aside from setting foot on trail and finishing your through hike, what's one thing you're really looking forward to on the PCT? So, not only am I looking forward to just getting out on the trail, starting my hike, and obviously finishing, but I think the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to is getting back into that through hiker community. And not just like community as far as being around other hikers, but community as far as just the way you feel when you're out on the trail, kind of that hiker trash lifestyle. You're getting up every day and you're hiking, you're waking up with the sun, you're going to sleep as the sun goes down, coming into a town, hitching, eating terrible high-calorie food. I really love that through hiker lifestyle, and it's why I love doing what I do. It's why I love being on the trail. So for me, it's not just about the hiking, it's more of that whole world that revolves around hiking. Do you ever go off trail to explore something you can see from a long distance, such as a rock formation or cave? Or are the hikes planned with time limits / expectations? So I think it all depends on what trail and what I'm currently doing. If it's like a really big mile day and say I need to get into town to resupply and I know that I got 25 miles to like put in for that day, I'm probably not gonna take the extra time to get off the trail to go check something out. But you know, if I get up early and I only have like a 15-mile day planned and I've already put down 10 miles for the day and it's noon, yeah, absolutely. If I see something really cool off in the distance that I want to go check out, I will definitely get off trail to explore that. A lot of times I'll see like a waterfall or maybe a pond, and yeah, those are always worth checking out. But again, if it's just one of those days where it's kind of like a work day on the trail and I just got to put the miles in, no, I'll definitely pass it up just because I'm a little bit more focused on where I need to get to by the end of the day.
Hey Darwin, Mike here. So I'm doing a long section hike of the Ice Age Trail today, and prepping myself for a big CDT next year. Not through hike, but just a big section hike, 5-day. Anyway, love your stuff, but it's 15 degrees out here, wind chill blowing, and it sucks. And I know you talk about embracing the suck, and great video, but you don't really tell me or tell us how you do it. How do you like mentally prepare yourself? And is it a certain beverage in the morning? Is it a certain cereal, a certain cartoon, a certain alcoholic beverage? What is it? Anything to help, because I gotta tell you, this sucks. Love it. Love your stuff. Keep it up. Mike out.
No, embracing the suck is just something I think every hiker has to do, and there's no like magic to it. Everyone treats and embraces the suck in a completely different way. I guess how I embrace the suck is usually how it works is at the end of a day, I'm having a really hard day of hiking and it's just hard getting into camp. I'm wore out, I'm hungry, I'm tired, maybe I've been hiking in the rain all day, I'm cold, I'm wet, and you know, at that night, whenever I'm getting into camp, everything's going through my head and it's telling me to get off the trail. This sucks. I could be at home in a warm bed. I could be at a restaurant eating hot food instead of eating some gross, nasty, cold-soaked mashed potatoes. For me, it's all about getting up in the morning and waking up with the sun, packing up camp, and those first couple miles on the trail, whenever you're out there and you're watching the trail come alive, you're hearing birds chirping, the sun's coming through the trees, it just totally changes my mood, and that's how I embrace the suck. Because I know that even though you have those sucky days, and that day before was hard and it was crappy, that there's nothing better than that feeling of being on the trail. And it's the reason you're out there. You know, the reason you're out there is to escape the 9 to 5 every day, the hustle and bustle of the city, and that stressful lifestyle. So a hard day on the trail is much better than a good day in the office. So I think that that is how I embrace the suck. It's no type of food, it's no type of cartoon, as you said, or anything that I watch. It's knowing that I'd rather be doing that than anything else in the world, because that's my passion and that's my love, and that's how I embrace the suck. Have you ever considered doing a live Q&A on Twitch? So I don't know what Twitch is, but I do a live Q&A once a month over on my Patreon page. Now you do have to be a patron to get into that live Q&A, but if you don't know what Patreon is, it's pretty much a way for my audience or anybody to support what I do in making these videos, going for a hike. But I do a live Q&A once a month over there. So if you want to check it out, I'll put a link in the description box below. Maybe I'll do something like a live Q&A for all my subscribers that aren't patrons in the future, but for now, that's the only way to see me do a live Q&A. Why don't you ever bring the real food like brats or whatever? It tastes way better for you, and higher calories. A lot of this stuff is smoked, so no refrigerator required. So I don't always bring just like dehydrated trail food. One of the things that I love to do when I'm on the trail is take out town food. So what I mean by that is most of the time on the trail, yeah, I will carry ramen, instant mashed potatoes, simply because of the weight, because you can get higher calorie foods like that are a lot lighter, so you can carry more food, so more calories. But something that I always do is whenever I resupply in a town, whatever food I take out of town for that first night, I'll always take out some real food. So I'll take out some lunch meat, maybe some bread. I've taken out burgers from like a restaurant, like a fast food place. I've gotten like 3 burgers and taken those out and maybe had one the next day. So I do eat real food on the trail, but typically I don't carry it like for my entire resupply, just because it's heavier. Takes up more room, and sometimes it can just be more of a nuisance to carry. So that's where something like instant mashed potatoes or ramen or one of those unreal foods comes into play a lot more than something like brats. When filming, how much longer does your hike take? That's a really good question, and funny enough, Nemor and I just got done doing a rim to rim to rim of the Grand Canyon, and both of us filmed that entire hike. And that was a big joke during our hike because we took so much time to set up a shot, and then we filmed each other setting up shots. But I don't know, I think in the long run, it probably doesn't take up too much time. And then there's definitely certain times of the day or parts of the hike where I will take that extra time to really set up a shot. I'll do that kind of like long walk off onto the trail and then have to walk all the way back and get it. I've talked about eventually doing like a blooper reel of all of those walk back shots. Or all of those outtakes of me setting up the camera. But regardless of how much time it takes, I definitely think it's worth it to make a really good video to be able to bring you guys out on the trail with me.
Hey Darwin, Daly from St. Paul, Minnesota. Recently watched a video of Team Z-Packs and Will Wood hiking the Superior Hiking Trail here in Minnesota. And I know in a previous video you'd mentioned that instead of doing longer through hikes, you were going to be doing some shorter hikes in the future. Just wondering if you'd ever heard of the Superior Hiking Trail, if you've ever considered it. Yeah, love your channel. Keep up the videos. Have a good one, man.
Yeah, so the Superior Hiking Trail is definitely on my list for sometime in the future. The ones that I kind of have in mind and what I'm planning on doing kind of next are the Arizona Trail. Obviously, you guys have seen me do a bunch of sections of that, but I really want to do a full through hike going northbound. So that is definitely number 1 on my list. Number 2 would be the Long Trail in Vermont. I've hiked half of it because half of it is utilized by the Appalachian Trail, but I'd really love to do a full through hike of the Long Trail, especially because it is like the grandfather of long distance trails. And then some other really small ones that I would love to do are the Benton Mackay Trail that is in Georgia and is pretty much a giant section of the AT, the Pinhoti Trail, which goes through Alabama and Georgia. And then I'd love to come back out here and do something like the Colorado Trail and maybe just some of the smaller trails out here in the West. But the Superior Hiking Trail is on that list. It all depends on when I get to it. Was wondering what's the most important or best weight-saving gear to replace from an average setup? Sleeping bag, backpack, or shelter? Since I'm on a budget and the big three are the heaviest, what would be the smartest to replace first? Say if I have a $300 budget. I would personally replace my shelter. So look at replacing your tent. There are a lot of really good, lightweight, budget option tents out on the market. Now, even though I don't use it anymore, I did have a tent called the Six Moons Design Skyscape Trekker, and I believe I paid like $270 to $300 for that tent, and it was great. It was a good, lightweight tent, just over 2 pounds. It uses trekking poles to set up, so that's definitely one to check out. Gossamer Gear is putting out some really great tents right now. Just last week, I did that hike with Nemor, and he was carrying the Gossamer Gear 1. That's a phenomenal tent that would definitely be in that budget that's super lightweight. And then I'm sure there's a lot of other tents out on the market that will be under that $300 budget that you could definitely drop quite a bit of weight, like up to 3 pounds out of your pack setup. After that, I would probably worry about my sleep system and getting the weight down on that, and then worry about your pack last. All right guys, last question of the week. Speaking of competition, do you ever feel in the hiker community there is unhealthy competition to get weight down and have the most miles hiked? Reddit is my personal example of where I see flares of 20,000 total miles hiked or Georgia to Maine 6-pound base weight. I've seen people complain that this isn't constructive to the community, but I've never had much of an issue. What about you? So lately it seems like that has been a pretty controversial topic. I think that people like to show off how low they can get their base weight, but I think treating it like a competition and thinking that you're better than someone else because you have a lighter pack or because you've hiked more miles is, in a sense, ignorant. In general, no matter how many miles you've hiked, no matter what type of gear you have, at the end of the day, we're all just putting a bag on our back and we're walking in the woods. It's not that important. It's not that amazing. No one is an athlete at doing it. It's just people getting out in nature and enjoying it. It's people getting on a trail and living a little more simply than living in an apartment. So I think that if you're taking it serious and you're treating it like a competition, and in a sense you're being arrogant about how many miles you've hiked and how light your pack is, it defeats the whole purpose of hiking and the hiking community. Again, I think that some competition is healthy, and I think that it's fun, you know, to kind of show off your pack and show how light you can get, but taking it too serious is ridiculous. There's no one right pack. There's no one right mileage for someone to have. It shouldn't matter. It's fun to talk about, it's fun to throw around, joke about, and kind of make a competition with yourself, but treating it serious and making it a competition among other hikers and belittling another hiker, that's just silly. And to me, I think it's not constructive to the community at all, and it makes the community weaker. We're all just people who put backpacks on our back and walk the woods. So just be a hiker, do what you want to do, enjoy what you want to enjoy, pack whatever you want to pack, and hike whatever miles that you want to hike. Just get out on the trail and enjoy it. All right guys, so if you want to leave a question for next week's Q&A, you can either leave it in the comment box below or send me a video question over to darwinonthetrail@yahoo.com, and then next week I'll answer as many as I possibly can. If you haven't had a chance yet, go over and check me out on Instagram. I've been posting a lot of new photos lately of some of the things that Snuggles and I have going on throughout the week, plus some pictures from some past hikes. If you found any value in this video, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and as always guys, thanks for watching.